This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at the Pioneers map. This map can be found over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game mod hub, and as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Now before we dive into the map, this video is brought to you by Jimmy Romanowski. Thank you for being a farm baron. So as the description says, in the 1980s, settlers left southern Brazil for central western Brazil in search of new land. Take on the role of one of these settlers in this map based on this region and era. Simulate with your friends the saga of the pioneers in Farming Simulator 19. So this map is very, very much like No Man's Land. So we're going to see when we get into the map that all the land is laid out in a grid pattern. We do own one particular grid at the start in New Farmer mode. We do have some starting equipment. Unlike No Man's Land, this map does have a fair bit of sell points pre-placed around the map. But in general, this map is 100% exactly what you make of it, as you have probably already seen on the thumbnail with the PDA. It's pretty much a blank canvas. So let's go ahead and jump on in and just take a little look around. So we'll go ahead and activate the mods that we typically use when we take a look at these types of maps. But I will have to say that probably most of these mods are not going to be needed during this particular video because of the fact that it is pretty much free of fields and whatnot. Let's go ahead and watch the log load on in here, and boom, we are in lickety split. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. And as you will see, it's very much No Man's Land-esque. If we take a look at the lands area, you'll see we start out by owning plot 10. Overall, most of the field plots are anywhere between $260,000 to $270,000. But there are a few cheaper plots over here on the western edge that are anywhere between $120,000 and $140,000. Now, the two main areas of sell points are here in plot 21 and in plot 25. We take a look at our starting equipment. You'll see that we start out with the Fiat 1300 DT, the Bison Super Z056, the FarmTech TDK 1600, the Z056H grain header, the Salford plow, the Amazon D830 seeder, and that is it. Now, we'll say that probably the preferred starting mode is going to be Farm Manager mode, because you own vehicles in all play modes. You don't own any land in Farm Manager mode, but you do start with $1.25 million. And with that, you can buy one plot of land and still have $1 million left over with your starting equipment. In New Farmer mode, you have one plot of land, you have the starting equipment, and you have $100,000 to work with. So you get 10 times the money in Farm Manager mode, and pretty much everything else is the same. So let's go back here and take a look again at the escape menu. You'll see we have all of our standard crops available to us here in Farm Sim 19. We also have sorghum, red bean, and rice. Now you will notice this says missing fill type, blah, blah, blah. That's basically saying that it's missing the English language entry for those particular fill types. Those fill types will still work. It's just missing the language entry. Really, it's something I would expect Giants to have checked, because German and English are going to be the two primary languages for the game. So I really personally feel that they need to look for English and German language files or entries being in the language file for pretty much any mod or map that is released. We go ahead and take a look at the prices screen. We see there are two main sell points for the bulk of our grain crops. We also have a unique sell point for cotton and wool. We do have an egg sell point and a milk sell point built into the map, as well as a sawmill for our wood chips and logs, and a bale sell point for silage, hay, straw, and grass. So it did not activate straw harvest, so I can't really comment on where your pellets are going to be sold, but we do also have the addition of rice straw being added here to the map, which is kind of an interesting byproduct of rice. I don't think we've seen that before in other maps that have had rice. You see our starting equipment here. All of it is owned. None of it is leased. There are no animals on the area map. There are no contracts on the map because there are no fields. So let's go ahead and just check out this particular area over here, which is on the western side of the map. We have our shop and our customized buy, sell, trade trigger right there. One of our grain sell points is located right here by the shop. And then we have a series of sell points a little further up the road here. We have our fuel point. We have our animal dealer. We have our grass, bale sell point, silage sell point. And then we have our milk dealer located right here. All of the other sell points are going to be on the far eastern side of the map. Our starting equipment is also located here. We have our harvester and harvester header. We have our tractor, trailer, plow, and plow and seeder also located right here. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get set up for the fly around. We're going to fly over and just check out our starting plot, plot 10. And then we'll go fly over the map and check out the sell points on the eastern side of the map. Get a little bit of altitude here, and I want to go ahead and just fast forward the clock a little bit. Just get a little bit brighter. All right, that should be good. Let's go ahead and make our way to the north. We do have the predominant river flowing across the map. There are 2 river crossings also on the map. And we're coming up to plot 10 right here. So plot 10 is basically what you see directly below you. And plot 10 will extend a little bit beyond the river. Let's go ahead and see that. So the river is basically cutting us our plot in half. So we have plot 10 from there to the river, and then a little bit ways beyond. So as I said, predominantly we have this river crossing through the map. There are 2 river crossings, as I've already said. We're going to come up to those here in a moment. One is directly below here. And the road then extends on over to the town, which is right there. And then the road will continue to basically cut across the middle of the map at this point to the other river crossing. Overall, you're going to see that the map is not flat. It does have some rolling hills to it. So, similar to No Man's Land, but this is kind of maybe a jungle version of No Man's Land. And overall, it feels like this middle section is maybe a bit more jungled up than these areas more on the outskirts. But no matter what you're going to be doing, you're probably going to be initially clearing a fair bit of this land of trees in order to start putting your fields in. But it definitely feels like it gets a lot more foliage, a lot denser as you move more in here to the middle of the map and specifically around the road. So I don't know if the map author or map authors paid very specific attention to the area right around the road, if there was a specific reason for that, with respect to maybe the central western area of Brazil, and if that was kind of how it was. But it just really seems interesting that the road is cut through kind of the most dense part of the forest, if you will. And then the areas off to the side of that are a bit more sparsely planted with trees and shrubbery and things like that. Here we are coming up to the other sell points that are on this map. Let's go ahead and just come back down here to the ground. So here we have our egg sell point. We'll continue on. And then at the port is where all the other action is going to be. So we have our cotton and wool sell point. We have our log and wood chip area over here. So logs, wood chips. We went under the lime buy point, which is located right here. So that's where you're going to buy your lime. And then we have our second grain sell point located right here. And that, everybody, is pretty much the Pioneer map. Like I said, it's very, very no man's land-esque, with the addition of sorghum, red beans, and rice as other crops. The map does not have, let's go ahead and look at that. The map does not have a bunch of custom placeables. So you will be using default placeables unless you add them in yourself. And we all know that there are a ton of placeables available to you in Giants Mod Hub, or if you're on PC outside the Mod Hub. But other than that, the map is pretty much a South American equivalent of No Man's Land with respect to its overall concept of it's a map, however you want to make it. So guys, let me know in the comments, what do you think of the Pioneers map? What do you think of maps like this in concept? Would you like to see more of these styles of maps show up in Farm Sim 22, as we are only close to 7 weeks away from Farm Sim 22 as of the release of this map and the release of this video. So until next time, happy farming.